Police officers, you are my brothers. You are my sisters. We don't want to fight you guys. What we want is justice. We only want justice.
We are careful. We are careful.
We are not fighting you.
Kwani tukikufa
Just let this thing be peaceful.
msharibu tunarudi uwe.
Don't kill us, police officers.
Alafu guys, make sure you subscribe guys. Make sure you subscribe.
So just kill us.
We are your brothers.
Either way we are dying.
Sisters.
Kill us.
Stop killing us, police. Stop killing us. Stop killing us, police. Stop killing us, please.
Either way we are
We are your brother. We are your sister. We are your sponsor. Sisi ni wana kuniacha nyumbani. Guys, sisi ni kuacha nyumbani kidogo.
Iko sawa? Unaogopa nini?
We are here at around Treasury headquarters. People are demanding justice for their people. That's what they are demanding. The police, you see, they are around here. There's cover everywhere. They're looking at people. Then there's a crowd of youth that's congregated at one place, demanding justice for their colleague who was killed by police, who is called Langat. Thank you. Just keep watching my fellow colleagues. Support the. Support DMK TV by DMK Favored TV. Support him. No, there's a lot of things welcome. Support the company. Support the company.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Keep on subscribing to this YouTube channel. Remember, it's DMK Favored TV, the channel that brings you exactly news what is happening in the country. As you can see in front of me, these are police officers. Wameweza kila mtu akona bunduki yake hapa hivi, and tear gas ndio kwa wingi guys. Na on the other side, pandile ingine utakuja kuona kwamba watu wamejaa pandile, wamefunga barabara, kuna gari zinapita huku. Kila kitu, biashara zote zimeweza kufungwa. Hakuna kazi ambayo inaendelea hapa. Tunaamini ya kwamba justice ya Albert itaweza kupatikana. We just praying for that. Yeah, justice itaweza kupatikana. Alafu make sure you like the live, subscribe tufike 15k subscribers. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, guys. Niambie ni channel gani inatumia hii live If there is any other channel that is using my live, tafadhali. This is DMK Favored TV. This is DMK Favored TV. Kama una watch channel ingine ambayo sio DMK Favored TV na hii live iko kwa hiyo channel, please make sure you vacate. Make sure you vacate, because that is not the place to be. The place to be is here on DMK Favored TV. Mnaona venye kunaendelea? Ni channel gani inatumia? OG TV. Wacha nimwambie. Huyo kwanza nampigia simu sasa hivi. Huyo nampigia simu, niko na namba yake sasa hivi. OG TV nampigia simu sasa hivi kwa sababu right now I think that is not the way to go. Sawa, asante. Side ingine mawe inatokea.
Kuna hiyo side ingine.
Oh.
Sipigi.
Kuna channel hapa naambiwa ina nini pia. Okay, TV zingine zimetoka. Hizi zingine zimetoka. Niangalie hiyo ingine.
Unajua unaibanga sana ni Motembai lakini nimemuona.
Umemwona? Ndio hii. Tuone. Okay ndio hiyo. Huyu acha nimpigie tu saizi. Acha nampigie simu saizi. Kuna namba yake. Acha nimpigie nimwambie.
Kama si hivyo mdrop kama hata kama afanye
nampigia tu direct nimwambie my brother what you are doing is not right. Either drop hiyo nini ama tupie namna gani.
Ama sort maneno.
Hello. Wewe kienda kuhurira tondu riri. Woi. Ndiri na thina Facebook no yo ti onjira mundu ni ahode wina namba yakwa. Woi ugia hurira no ati na thina. Akono weheria sawa. Wewe nimempigia immediately akasema ati amefuta. But Facebook haina shida. Facebook no problem. Acha marketing ni yangu haina shida.
Facebook na market si mbaya.
But hivyo sio mtu anafanyanga. Nimeona nimpigia cause without kumpigia angeendelea. Alipe za footage. Austin Mbadi, thank you so much.
Tia gas unakunywa ni mingi.
Mimi nakunywa tia gas hapa alafu mtu anakuja na live stream nini yangu bana anaiba.
Kiosha ndio mbaya.
Na mimi ndio niko huku nakula tia gas kukula.
Kiosha ndio mbaya.
Anyway, no problem.
Unaona sasa hivi unalia.
Hata yako imeenda.
Unaona wale jamaa? Twende hivi.
Wewe guys, kumeakishwa moto huku. Ni kubaya. Magari zinachomwa. Huku mpaka magari zinachomwa huku guys. Magari zinachomwa guys, Kumeakishwa moto huku, magari zimechomwa kuchomwa huku. Vehicles are being banned. Hii ni platinum launch Platinum launch. Watu wanachoma magari kwa nini? Magari isichomwe tafadhali. Mtu ameacha gari yake alafu napata imechomwa. This is not fair. Magari zimechomwa. Acha nikae hapa kwa kona juu. Naweza rushwa. Magari mbili zimewekwa chini. Ni mbili kweli ama kuna zingine mbele? I think hiyo ni 110 na Probox zimeweza kuchoma zikateketea zikaisha. Toyota 110 na Probox. Ndio sasa unaona nimeka kwa kona. Kufinyiliwa. Kufinyiliwa. Kweli. Guys, as you can see, magari zimeweza kuchoma. Hiyo ni Probox imeweza kuisha hapo na Toyota 110 imeweza kuchomeka zikaisha. Tuko hapa hivi Platinum launch
Tuko karibu na Kenya Cinema Plaza. You can see
Yeah, yeah. Niko mbali kidogo guys, niko mbali kidogo. Ni kuzoom na zoom ndio sababu mnaona kama niko karibu. It is just zooming, That's how the condition is right now. Ni kubaya sana guys, Hello my brother. Kwa sana kwa fiti. Mimi niko best bana. Alijua hiyo matanki na nini vitu kama hizo. Ndio unafika? Umekuwa best? Okay. Najua sasa tuwezi patana juu kila mtu ako side yake.
Lakini sasa zimesalipuka.
Itagi, unajua sasa tangi nililipukanga.
Nini?
Tangi.
Kwa ya mafuta?
Shock. Hizo ni shock zinatoa nini already? Shock zimeisha nini already? Na tafadhali kama uko hapo na una live stream YouTube stream yangu, tutakosana. If you are there streaming my live, tutakosana because that is not the way to go. Rainoba TV. I'm okay, Mogekuyo TV News. Thank you so much. Niko poa. Hapana, hii ni kuchoma. Brother. Na wewe kale mwenda bana. Kae kando. Bana. Oh, Dwazi TV pia. Wacha niangalie Dwazi TV. Melipuka. Hiyo ni kulipuka. Oh, sorry. Sasa nimekuona. Tena kuja nyuma yako kidogo.
If someone wants to ask us how Ojwang died, we are good to go. Oh, we have to accept this. The life of a Kenyan citizen is safe in the hands of in the court of the hands of police. Someone to answer us how did Ojwang die? Nothing else. We are just asking justice for Ojwang. After that, we have to pay the taxes. Ojwang alikufa Ojwang. The life of a Kenyan citizen is safe in the court of in the hands of police. But justice for Ojwang, nothing else. Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang. When I die, tell my mom, I've tried my best. Message to my mom, when I die, I've died and I've tried my best. When I die, I've tried my best. Message to my family members. Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang.
Kidogo.
Ojwang, we are just waiting for
Haja, hebu tuende side ingine tu maeneo yote. At least tuweze kukava kila mahali. Guys, hiyo ni magari imeweza kuungua. Kama live yangu haibambi tafadhali toka tu pole pole. Hello. Ata? Hello. Supreme. Tumetoka kwa guys. Guys, imagine mtu anakuja gari yake. Unatoka unaacha gari yako, unapata gari imechomeka, imeisha. Huyo films kwanza atoke hapa tafadhali. Huyo films. Mtu anitolee huyo films. Yeah, tunaendelea vizuri. Sasa tuko hapa hivi Nguruma Avenue guys. Tuko hapa hivi Nguruma Avenue.
Wale ambao wamefanya hivi ya mauaji wanafaa wasi. Wale wamefanya hivi.
Can you talk here? Yeah? Can you talk? Let's take this one.
Okay. Nasema just to stop. Niongea na Kiswahili ama?
No problem. Tumia tu language yote haina shida.
Kunyamazisha maneno kama haya na uharibifu kama huu. Wale ambao wamefanya maneno ya mauaji, that is criminal. Those are criminals. Wanafaa washikwe na waondolewe kwenye kazi. Wapelekwe to the rule of law, washikwe wapelekwe kotini. Tu kama ni kufungwa wafungwe. Sababu hii haiwezi ikafanya nchi iwe na amani. Hata kama ni IG, ni DIG na ni mkubwa wa DCI, wote wanafaa washikwe, wawekwe ndani. Na we have the paramilitary to do that. We have the paramilitary to do that. Just like that. Nishamaliza. Nimeongea. Hiyo iko sawa.
And the anti-police, anti-riot police brigade from the national.
Bunge la Wananchi, representatives of various youth and women groups, a group of traders representing a cross-section of our small-scale business community, including border riders who are with us today. On behalf of the National Assembly and on my own behalf, I welcome all of you to the National Assembly. Before I invite the Cabinet Secretary to make the pronouncement, I wish to remind the House that in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 244C3, the Cabinet Secretary shall be heard in total silence, without question or clarification being sought by any one of you. Honorable members, and you'll only cheer by thumping your feet, not by verbal expressions. Honorable members, I now interrupt the business of the House to allow the Cabinet Secretary to make a public pronouncement on the budget policy highlights and revenue-raising measures for the national government for the financial year 2025-2026. The Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning, Honorable FCPA John Mbadi, AGH. You are now invited to proceed. I thank you, members. Yes. No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and honorable members of the National Assembly. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me this opportunity to read budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, it is with great honor and privilege that I present to this esteemed House and the people of Kenya the budget statement for the financial year 2025-2026 budget. I make this statement in compliance with Section 40 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and the Standing Order number 241 of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, these legal provisions give life to the building constitutional requirements of good governance to which the President and certainly the National Treasury and Economic Planning remain fully committed to. Mr. Speaker, at the outset, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to His Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, for the trust he bestowed upon me by appointing me as the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to provide leadership in economic and financial affairs of our country. I remain mindful of the aspirations and high expectations of the Kenyan people as I serve in this office. The Constitution protects realization of economic, social, and cultural rights, which includes the rights to adequate food, to adequate housing, to education, right to health, to social security, and to take part in cultural life, to water and sanitation, and also right to work. This budget, Mr. Speaker, speaks to these rights and reaffirms the priority policies and strategies aimed at stimulating economic recovery, articulated in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, otherwise known as BETTER, on strategic investment in areas that generate the highest impact, particularly in job creation and income generation at the grassroots level. Mr. Speaker, significant successes have been achieved through targeted intervention and structural reforms. These measures have laid a solid foundation for economic recovery and set us on a path towards long-term growth and stability. Mr. Speaker, let me mention just a few achievements under BETTER. First, the Kenyan economy has remained resilient and registered an average growth of 5.2% for the period between 2023 and 2024, outpacing both global growth of 3.3% and 3.8% for the sub-Saharan African region over the same period. Other macroeconomic fundamentals such as inflation and exchange rates have strongly rebounded and are projected to remain stable. Second, The government has rolled out fertilizer and seed subsidies to farmers across the country, and that has boosted production in key food value chains and revived underperforming or collapsed export crops such as pyrethrum. Since February 2024, Mr. Speaker, a total of 6.5 million registered farmers have benefited from the fertilizer subsidy program. And as a result of these initiatives, the cost of fertilizer has declined by 67% from Kenya shillings 7,500 in 2022 to 2,500 in 2025. While maize production has increased by 38.9% from 61.7 million bags in 2022 to 85.7 million bags in 2024. This is a clear demonstration of the positive impact of our agricultural reforms towards food security and improved household income. Third, to support livelihoods and small businesses, the government has disbursed loans amounting to over 75 billion by the end of May 2025 through the Financial Inclusion Fund, popularly known as the Hustler Fund. This initiative has provided access to affordable credit to over 26 million customers with a strong base of 9 million repeat borrowers and a repayment rate of 79%. A total of 4.5 million borrowers are eligible to be graduated to the mainstream financing institutions. And to build a culture of savings for the future, the fund has also successfully mobilized 4.5 billion in savings from its beneficiaries. Fourth, to enhance the attainment of universal health coverage, the government has expanded social health insurance. And as of May 2025, more than 22 million Kenyans were registered with the Social Health Authority, what we call SHA, representing a remarkable 175% increase in membership compared to the 8 million previously enrolled under the defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF. This marks a major milestone, Mr. Speaker, in our health sector reforms and brings us closer to our goal of equitable, affordable, and accessible health care for all. Fifth, in fulfillment of the commitment to deepen home ownership and close the housing gap, the government has facilitated the construction of affordable housing units across the country. Since September 2022, 2,379 affordable housing units have been completed across 4 counties, with another 11,000 units in the last stages of completion. The units have been advertised for sale to the public through the Boma Yangu platform. And in addition, there are 148,465 units under active construction across the remaining 43 counties. As part of the program, the government is also supporting the development of institutional housing for the uniformed services and students. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, these efforts have created over 250,000 direct and indirect jobs for Kenyans. In addition, over 11 billion has been ring-fenced for Juakali and MSMEs to support local fabrication of steel doors, windows, and other construction materials. Sixth, to drive digital transformation and inclusion, the government has expanded last-mile fiber optic connectivity to 13,590 kilometers in 2025, up from 8,900 kilometers in 2022, an increase of 53%. Two, established 285 digital hubs across the country, and also increased the number of digitized government services from 350 in 2022 to 20,985 in 2025 through integration with the e-citizen and mobile platforms, ensuring seamless access for all Kenyans. Seven, to promote access to reliable and competitive energy, the government has expanded energy generation by installing an additional 167 megawatts of electricity from 3,076 megawatts in 2022 to 3,243 megawatts in 2025. This has enabled connection of 932,839 more customers to electricity. The system peak has increased from 2,149 megawatts of electricity in July 2022 to 2,316 megawatts of electricity in February 2025. The total number of customers connected to electricity has increased to 10 million in 2025 from 8.9 million in 2022. Eighth, to boost education and training outcomes in the country as a tool of creating equality in the society, the government has invested significant resources and implemented radical changes in the education sector, and these include resolving the uncertainty around the competency-based curriculum, CBC, launching of the Kenya Education Management Information System to consolidate all existing student registers from early childhood development to institutions of higher learning into a single centralized database. And three, rolling out of a new student-focused higher education focusing model with special emphasis for students from vulnerable families. Additionally, in order to improve the teacher-student ratio, the government has recruited 76,000 teachers, including junior secondary school teachers. Ninth, to enhance domestic and regional connectivity, boost rural productivity, improve urban informal settlements, and reduce urban congestion, this government has constructed an additional 1,574 kilometers of roads and 129 bridges from 2022 to April 30th, 2025. Further, the government has rehabilitated an additional 212 kilometers of roads and periodically maintains 126,177 kilometers of roads. 10th, the government has also made significant progress in expanding social protection through the Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program. From 2022 to 2025, the number of households with orphans and vulnerable children receiving support has increased by 65%. to 428,421. Additionally, persons living with disabilities registered for support grew by 34% to 59,637. The number of senior citizens aged 70 years and above registered for social protection also rose by 66% to over 1.2 million. These efforts have provided stable incomes to the beneficiaries and reduced their dependency on relatives, enhancing their dignity and quality of life. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, notwithstanding these achievements, we are aware that a lot remains to be done in order to address the pressing challenges facing Kenyans. And Mr. Speaker, in this year's budget-making process, we accorded Kenyans an opportunity to share their views on how to address the economic challenges facing our country. In my various engagements at open barazas and in the media, Kenyans have been very resolute in voicing their concerns that include overtaxation and high cost of living, unemployment, need for protection of the poor and vulnerable, and more importantly, the need to reduce government expenditure and wastage of resources across the national and county governments. Mr. Speaker, I am alive to these domestic challenges facing Kenyans and the external factors such as geopolitical tensions and shifting global trade dynamics that lead to escalation of the cost of essential commodities in the country, requiring comprehensive responses by government. As you may recall, shifting global trade dynamics that lead to escalation of the 2025, more than 22 million Kenyans were registered with the Social Health Authority, what we call SHA, representing a remarkable 175% increase in membership compared to the 8 million previously enrolled under the defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF. This marks a major milestone in the country requiring comprehensive responses by government. As you may recall, megawatts in 2022 to 3,243 megawatts in 2025. This has enabled connection of 932,839 more customers to electricity. The system peak has increased from 2,149 megawatts of electricity in July 2022 to 2,316 megawatts of electricity in February 2025. The total number of customers connected to electricity has increased to 10 million in 2025 from 8.9 million in 2022. Eighth, to boost education and training outcomes in the country as a tool of creating equality in the society, the government has invested significant resources and implemented radical changes in the education sector, and these include resolving the uncertainty around the competency-based curriculum, CBC, launching of the Kenya Education Management Information System to consolidate all existing student registers from early childhood development to institutions of higher learning into a single centralized database. And three, rolling out of a new student-focused higher education focusing model with special emphasis for students from vulnerable families. Additionally, in order to improve the teacher-student ratio, the government has recruited 76,000 teachers, including junior secondary school teachers. Ninth, to enhance domestic and regional connectivity, boost rural productivity, improve urban informal settlements, and reduce urban congestion, this government has constructed an additional 1,574 kilometers of roads and 129 bridges from 2022 to April 30th, 2025. Further, the government has rehabilitated an additional 212 kilometers of roads and periodically maintains 126,177 kilometers of roads. 10th, the government has also made significant progress in expanding social protection through the Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program. From 2022 to 2025, the number of households with orphans and vulnerable children receiving support has increased by 65% to 428,421. Additionally, persons living with disabilities registered for support grew by 34% to 59,637. The number of senior citizens aged 70 years and above registered for social protection also rose by 66% to over 1.2 million. These efforts have provided stable incomes to the beneficiaries and reduced their dependency on relatives, enhancing their dignity and quality of life. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, notwithstanding these achievements, we are aware that a lot remains to be done in order to address the pressing challenges facing Kenyans. And Mr. Speaker, in this year's budget-making process, we accorded Kenyans an opportunity to share their views on how to address the economic challenges facing our country. In my various engagements at open barazas and in the media, Kenyans have been very resolute in voicing their concerns that include overtaxation and high cost of living, unemployment, need for protection of the poor and vulnerable, and more importantly, the need to reduce government expenditure and wastage of resources across the national and county governments. Mr. Speaker, I am alive to these domestic challenges facing Kenyans and the external factors such as geopolitical tensions and shifting global trade dynamics that lead to escalation of the cost of essential commodities in the country, requiring comprehensive responses by government. As you may recall, the social unrest precipitated by the Finance Bill of 2024, brought to the fore the importance of values and principles of governance as enshrined in our Constitution. In response and to win public trust, we have strengthened public participation in all policy formulation, including budget-making process. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, I have actively engaged Kenyans in various social forums to promote inclusive dialogue on the challenges facing our economy. And as a result of these consultations, we are focused on the following broad areas. First, easing tax burden on Kenyans by increasing the pool of taxpayers and enhancing tax compliance. In this respect, the ongoing work on the digitization and automation of the Kenya Revenue Authority, in line with the Kenya's medium-term revenue strategy. Thus, all who are able shall henceforth contribute to financing the operations of government and development of our country. Second, to enhance liquidity in the economy and support small businesses, we have started the process of settling pending bills that have been validated, particularly those related to road construction, which has resulted in resumption of road construction projects across the country. Mr. Speaker, the pending bills verification committee will share their final report by the end of June 2025. This report will be analyzed and recommendations tabled in Cabinet for approval, after which we shall embark on the process of clearing the eligible bills, starting with those related to individuals, businesses, and the micro, small, and medium enterprises, majority of whom have borne the brunt of non-payment. Third, promotion of good governance on public finance matters. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans have expressed concerns about the public debt. Indeed, there is a perception of lack of transparency in the management of public debt. In this regard, I requested the Auditor General to conduct a comprehensive audit of public debt. This audit is currently ongoing, and once completed, the report will be shared with this House. Fourth, there has been public perception and concerns in the past that our budgets tend to be unrealistic. To address these concerns, we took a two-pronged approach. First, we adopted the zero-based budgeting, where every budget item has to be justified at the beginning of every financial year. This process was used in the preparation of the financial year 2025-2026 budget, which is the first time it is used, and which budget I submitted to this House on the 30th of April 2025. Second, in response to concerns on unrealistic revenue projections, we have reduced revenue projection to be in line with the trends. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, revenue projections in the financial year 2025-26 budget and over the medium term are consistent with the growth of the economy. Fifth, Mr. Speaker, in order to improve governance in the public procurement process, I launched the e-procurement system on April 7, 2025, and beginning of 1st July 2025, all procurement by ministries, departments, and agencies will be done through the e-procurement system without any exception. This will reduce the opaqueness and save government resources, estimated at 10% of procurable budgets. Sixth, we have taken deliberate efforts to enhance transparency and promote inclusive policy making and deepen public understanding of government economic priorities. We have not only intensified media engagement through the TV stations and radios, but have also engaged the public in open places like Jivanji Garden, Bunge la Mwananchi, and Mombasa County, where we held a meeting at Swahili Port Amphitheatre. Similar engagements have also taken place in other locations in Nairobi, Mombasa, Eldoret, and Nyeri, thereby providing valuable insights and lessons which have been taken into consideration while preparing this budget. Seventh, Mr. Speaker, in order to create additional jobs for the youth, the government has begun rolling out Climate Works, a nationwide program that will engage over 110,000 youth across all 47 counties. The program started last year in Nairobi's informal settlements and has been a great success. Now it is being expanded to the rest of the country. Climate Works is designed as a social support program that gives young people paid work to improve their communities. The youth will help build roads, plant trees, and clean up the environment in their neighborhoods. Thus, through this climate work, the government is not only providing a paycheck to help young people meet their immediate needs, but also offering financial support to help them develop themselves and their families. Indeed, the program enables them to save money and prepare for their next steps, including starting businesses, continuing their education, or finding long-term jobs. I encourage all our youth to register ahead of the registration deadline. Today, Mr. Speaker, having heard Kenyans loud and clear, we have accommodated their diverse concerns in the financial year 2025-2026 budget. And in this regard, this budget provides highlights of the measures the government has taken to stimulate economic recovery, strengthen macroeconomic stability, and enhance resilience of our economy. Mr. Speaker, achieving these strategic objectives will require that we pull in the same direction. It is in this context that His Excellency the President has urged us to put our differences aside, build bridges, and focus on implementation of strategic interventions for a better Kenya. Mr. Speaker, in this respect, the theme for this year's budget is stimulating sustainable economic recovery for improved livelihoods, job creation, and business and industrial prosperity in line with better. That is bottom-up economic transformation agenda. That is the theme. Mr. Speaker, as we move forward in the implementation of the government's agenda, we are also conscious of the fiscal constraints that demand our collective attention and thoughtful action. 1, rising demands for increased public spending, which could lead to either higher debt or the need to raise taxes, both of which require careful consideration and balanced decision-making given current public concerns. 2, we face constraints on account of public debt accumulation. Progressively, our debt carrying capacity has narrowed. This calls for prudence and discipline on how we manage and take on new debt. And finally, we face the challenges of mobilizing higher tax revenues as we must balance the need for increased revenues with the need to keep the cost of doing business low to stimulate economic growth. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, these constraints are interlinked, and addressing them effectively requires strategic planning, fiscal discipline, and a commitment to long-term sustainability. In this regard, this budget will continue to implement a fiscal consolidation plan designed towards slowing down the growth of public debt while protecting service delivery to our citizens. Given the limited resources we have made tough choices by curtailing funding to lower priority areas. This has allowed us to redirect our scarce resources towards the better core pillars and enablers, accelerating outcomes for citizens while maintaining pro-poor spending in health, education, and vulnerable groups. Mr. Speaker, the rest of my statement will present the economic context around which this budget is prepared, policy priorities and structural reforms under better, the proposed resource allocations as well as revenue-raising measures that the government will implement in the financial year 2025-2026 budget. And therefore, let me start with the economic policy context. And I will first speak to the global context. Mr. Speaker, 2025-2026 budget has been prepared in the context of heightened uncertainty due to recent tariff wars and the intensification of geopolitical tensions, which continue to pose significant risks to global economies. In this regard and respect, global economic growth is expected to slow from 3.3% in 2024 to 2.8% in 2025, and finally to 3% in 2026. Now, let me come to the domestic economy. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, on the domestic front, The economy has remained resilient, as I stated earlier, recording an average growth rate of 5.2% for the years 2023 and 2024. This performance is higher than the global average of 3.3% and also higher than the Sub-Saharan African region average of 3.8 over the same period. This strong growth reflects the impact of sound and deliberate policies, as well as the resilience of our well-diversified economy. These factors have enabled us to withstand significant domestic and external shocks while maintaining a steady path of progress. In 2024, the economy grew by 4.7%, supported by positive growth in all sectors except construction and mining. This growth was lower compared to 5.7% in 2023, mainly due to adverse effects of floods in the second quarter and the anti-finance bill protests in the third quarter of 2024 that disrupted economic activities. In fact, our economy closed down for about 3 months. Mr. Speaker, the government's policy interventions have strengthened the macroeconomic indicators as reflected in the following achievements. Number one, inflation rates has declined to 3.8% in May 2025 from a peak of 9.6% in October 2022. The prices of essential food items, including sugar, milk, maize flour, wheat flour, bread, and rice, among others, have eased. For example, the price of 2 kilograms of sifted maize flour has declined to 156.9 shillings in May 2025 from Kenya shillings 177.7 in October 2022. Similarly, cost of energy and power has also come down over the same period. Second, in response to the decline in inflation, the Central Bank of Kenya has gradually eased monetary policy, lowering the central bank rate from 13% in August 2024 to 9.75% in June 2025. With the easing of monetary policy stance, interest rates have been declining. For example, the 91-day Treasury bills rates have declined from an average of 15.55. In addition, the average